Welcome to the highly anticipated Pilot Pay in Canada video, part 2. I'm going to tell you how to make $100,000 as a pilot in only 5 years. This information is current as of January 2024 and should be valid for the next 3 to 4 years when current pilot contracts start to expire. Welcome back to Aviator Inspirations. My name is Yaro and I help take the mystery out of the aviation industry. I make these free videos to help future aviators save time and money, so consider subscribing. Since COVID ended, the pilot shortage has been extreme, where airlines are actively stealing pilots from their competition, which has also resulted in rapid wage increase to incentivize pilots to make the switch. If you haven't seen my first Pilot Pay video, go check it out, as most of the information is still helpful in terms of career progression, but the salaries have gone up dramatically. With the intro out of the way, let's start from the beginning with a brand new 250-hour pilot looking for their first job. The first job is still the hardest job to find in aviation. You will have to send dozens of resumes. And if you want my tips and tricks on how to find your first job, check out this video. In today's pilot shortage though, I will tell you to stay away from ramp jobs. There's absolutely no need for you to waste 1 to 2 years fueling airplanes, loading cargo and bags just to get an opportunity to fly. We are in a pilot shortage, so do not accept a ramp position. This old practice of using pilots as cheap labor should be abolished, as you didn't just spend $100,000 to be a glorified baggage handler. Instead, focus your attention on entry-level jobs like flight training, medevac, or cargo on a Cessna 206 or Caravan. Class 4 flight instructors used to start at $20 an hour, and now you are starting at $40 an hour. If you only fly 25 hours a week, that's already $4,000 a month. Not a bad start for your first job. The reason flight schools have to pay so much is because they cannot keep flight instructors, because you only need 500 to 1,000 hours before you can move on to something bigger. For example, aerial survey pilots on a Piper Navajo at 600 hours get paid $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Of course, this is seasonal work, but you already have the potential to earn 6 figures. Once you have 1,000 hours, you can basically get any first officer position in Canada. Did you know at 1,500 hours you can become a first officer on a Boeing 737 at Flair Airlines and at 2,000 hours at Air Canada? Only 5 years ago, these positions demanded 3,000 to 5,000 hours of experience. And now these are practically entry-level jobs. These are the salaries of Year 1 First Officer positions in Canada. If you watched my first Pilot Pay video, you would know that to get to this point in your career, it would have taken about 10 years. Now you can do it in only 3. Now the next part is going to be a little controversial, but unfortunately this is the reality. In the past, to get to the major airline, you would have to go through their regional subsidiary. The major airline would have an agreement with the regional airline to accept a certain amount of pilots per year called a flow program. However, with the pilot shortage, these regional airlines cannot afford to meet their obligated requirements and lose those pilots. Otherwise, the regional airline would shut down. And so the pilots are stuck there. They cannot simply quit and apply at the major airline. So what pilots are doing now is going to the opposite regional airline, because then they can quit and go to the major airline of choice and skip all the regional pilots. In my personal opinion, you should just skip the regionals altogether right now. What you want to do instead is get a multi-engine captain position, ideally on a turbine aircraft, so that you can build 1,000 hours multi-engine PIC. Basically, any captain position in 2024 is paying 6 figures. Even Harbour Air starts their captains now at $93,000 a year to fly a float plane. Smaller companies also fly a lot more, so if you can build 2,500 to 3,000 hours total time before going to the airlines, it will help you in the long run. The reason I say that is because to upgrade to captain on a Boeing 737, you need at least 4,000 hours. However, airline pilots can find themselves on reserve and not flying a lot, depending on their seniority, so building time can be challenging. Currently, captain upgrades on a Boeing 737 are as low as 1 to 3 years here in Canada, depending on your base. So if you have enough hours, you can be an airline captain in 6 to 7 years of entering this career versus 15 years pre-COVID. These are the year 1 captain salaries in Canada, and they are only going to increase. Unfortunately, Canada is the lowest paying country in the world for pilot pay right now, and the US being the highest. But this is how quickly you can progress in your pilot career right now. That's why having a strategic plan in place will ensure you don't waste any time doing jobs that won't help you long term. So what is my future prediction for the rest of this decade? Canada is barely producing 1,000 pilots per year, yet Air Canada alone needs 1,000 pilots per year for the next several years, and Porter Airlines ordered 30 Embraer E195-E2 jets with the purchase rights for a further 50 aircraft. Lynx and Flair both want to be at 50 aircraft in the next 3 to 4 years, so Canada is in such a pilot shortage that I expect wages to keep increasing, pilot demand to stay very high, that you will have the pick of any airline you want, and we will maintain this positive trajectory till 2030. In Canada, pilot contracts are about 3 to 5 years, so in 2025, pilot wages will keep going up as contracts are renegotiated. My hope is that we see year 1 first officer pay at 6 figures in the next 5 years. Of course, 6 figures is not the same as 10 years ago. Inflation has eroded salaries, food, gas, and housing costs are through the roof, so in reality 6 figures is the new middle class in cities like Vancouver and Toronto. But I'm happy to see that pilots are finally being treated fairly, compensated appropriately, and there's fast movement in the industry. With this positive direction, I hope it incentivizes more people to join this profession. If this video was helpful, go and smash that like button and share it with anyone who aspires to become a pilot. Pay transparency is so important in this industry as it will help future aviators make better decisions about their career. If you have any other aviation related questions, leave them down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.